Hello and a very good morning to everyone joining us today. I'm very excited about today's topic as we get to speak with people behind a brand that has lived through the journey of setting a benchmark in leveraging marketing opportunity. This brand is not only trusted by us but even by our parents when it comes to building up the immunity. Now, I'm sure most of you must have guessed the brand by now, so let me introduce you to Mr. Vangamudi, Director of Apex Laboratories. When COVID disrupted our lives last year, none of us knew how to deal with it. Our HCPs were struggling to find a treatment protocol, and there was a lot of trial and error going on with the medication that needs to be prescribed for treating the patients. However, one recommendation that was on the prescription from the very first day was an immunity booster, and as we all know, it still remains on the top of the list. We have the privilege of having Mr. Vangamudi with us today to share with us how Apex stood out and became a leader in the immunity boosters market. Sir, welcome to Opinions That Matter. Now, even before I get into the details of how you went about achieving this monumental success with Zincovit, please correct me if I am wrong, sir. But Zincovit has been around for over 30 years in India and it has always been treated as a prescription product by Apex. I wanted to understand from you on the place that Zincovit holds in the company's portfolio.
Hello, everyone. Yes, Zincovit is promoted and prescribed for more than 30 years now. Even before COVID, Zincovit was a special product for Apex because the contribution of Zincovit to the overall turnover has been great. And now, after the first and the second wave of COVID, Zincovit is even more special, not just for Apex, but for the industry, and the reasons are very well known. The focus is all the more defined and widened in terms of promotion and coverage now. Zincovit has been our flagship brand and continues to be the flagship brand, inspiring the rest of our portfolio.
That's really inspiring to know, sir, that even though there have been many more successful launches over the years for Apex, Zincovit has always been on a prime focus. But then this brings me to my next question. All successful leaders like yourself, they're very great at reading the market pulse and timing themselves well. With immunity boosters, we know that availability plays a very important role. Unless the product is available on the retailer shelf, the consumer can easily opt to substitute. When did you see the first signs of huge demand expected in the market? And what gave you that confidence that you were ready to meet the demands for Zincovit?
We have been promoting Zincovit in immunity since the day it was launched, and we were confident that Zincovit will boost immunity. And incidentally, we also saw Zincovit sales pick up slowly from June 20. After the inclusion of zinc in the treatment protocol by government authorities, we witnessed a huge demand in Zincovit. Zincovit was always a fast moving product in Apex, and hence the required resources and infrastructure for production, including the manpower, was ready when the demand increased. Moreover, government permitted all activities for essential services, which gave us freedom and confidence that supported us to meet the demand.
So, if I'm reiterating this correctly, the inclusion of zinc in the treatment protocol by the government gave a huge benefit in increased demands for Zincovit. But how did Apex manage meeting these demands? If I may add, most of us are going to remember 2020 as a year of anomalies in our lives. No one had ever experienced the state of complete lockdown before. And during this very time, when people were locked in their homes and transportation had come to a complete standstill, demands, as you just said, had taken a huge jump.
Even though Zincovit had all the support internally, we were only able to meet the demand till August 2020. But much before that, we predicted the demand would grow and strategized outsourcing of the product by tech transferring to different units across the country, so the product would be available locally. As predicted, the cases rose and so did the demand. Our plans, purchases, outsourcing, distribution, and special task force were working with coordination 24/7. And of course, our technical team worked with different outsourcing plans to ensure quality. Initially, due to the lockdown, we were unable to supply the demand, but later we started delivering based on regions' needs and priority. And another important strength for Apex was our distribution partners. stockist, and chemist who absolutely stood by us and supported us in this challenging time.
So I can tell you how long I have waited to get an answer on this next question. And I'm sure many of our audiences would also be equally interested in knowing that X factor behind Zincovit. During the pandemic and even now, vitamin C and zinc containing brands are some of the most sought after immunity boosters. What was so different in Zincovit promotion that helped it set a benchmark, especially when this market is cluttered with more than 800 brands? Everybody had an equal opportunity to make it big. Why did HCPs prefer prescribing Zincovit?
Let me tell you the story behind Zincovit. So, Apex had the foresight that the elemental zinc would play a significant role in human medicine due to its unique curative properties. Thus, for the first time in India, a zinc-based product along with iron was launched with the brand name Zincovit and followed by the game changer Zincovit. Zincovit was introduced in the year 1990 as the second brand in the zinc portfolio. Zincovit was launched across the country in the next 7 years, creating awareness on the role of zinc and having published journals. Launching zinc with vitamin supplement was a challenge as it was more of a concept selling in those days. As told earlier, Zincovit was positioned and promoted as an immunity booster for the last 3 decades. And doctors, who are our pillars, have been prescribing Zincovit for the same reason. Hence, we are known as the zinc people in the industry. Moreover, Zincovit was a time tested, trusted brand by the medical fraternity, which helped us to sustain in the market and grow big. And this has been our strategy, which has helped us grow faster.
Wow, staying true to the basics of marketing did play a huge role there. So, tell us about your views on the demand for immunity boosters with the backdrop of vaccination drive that is going on across the country today. Now, according to the government websites, 50% of the eligible population is already vaccinated with at least one dose. Will the population at large still want to use immunity boosters for prophylaxis? Do you expect the demands for immunity boosters to remain high even in the future?
Happy to see the vaccination drive across the globe, but it is important for us to be aware that this is limited to COVID only. We should also remember that COVID has unveiled the fact and taught us a lesson that the mutated viruses and bacteria would keep coming back, and our body's immune system should be equipped to fight against these organisms. Hence, immunity boosters has a role to play in protecting us now and forever. This pandemic has brought in awareness about immunity boosters usage, and hence we feel the demand to acquire immunity would be there either through food or nutrition supplements, if not chronic, at least in acute conditions.
That's a very interesting angle, sir. The vaccination is only for addressing COVID and not for immunity at large. And I guess with the kind of lifestyle that all of us lead today, having good immunity is of prime importance. So, this also brings me to my last question for today. As a seasoned marketeer, you know that the COVID wave has subsided, and probably the demands are also going to follow the same pattern. What are your plans to ensure Zincovit remains on the top? With more and more brands entering this market, and each corporate, big or small, is looking for a share in the pie.
The focus is all the more defined and widened in terms of promotion and coverage now. As the market is opening up now, our field force is also working that extra mile to ensure extra prescriptions. Remaining on the top by the number is one thing, but Zincovit wants to be the trusted brand of all the doctors. We are ensuring Zincovit's availability even in small counters. Apex is focused on these two key factors and we are working on that.
So, to sum it all up, Zincovit remained true to its core message of immunity building properties of zinc right from the launch of the brand, and the entire system, be it the distribution, production, marketing, and sales, were all aligned towards a common goal of ensuring availability at a retailer shelf. This is the only secret behind the success of Zincovit. So, thank you so much for sharing your valuable insights with us. And with this, we end our webinar for the performance review of IPM in the month of September 21. Thank you all for joining us today. Have a great day ahead.